1958. A suburban street in New Jersey, late November afternoon. The amber light of the setting sun catches dust motes dancing in the hallway. A mother stands near the back door, the faint smell of floor wax lingering in the air. She reaches into a small wooden door built right into the wall, the milk chute. There's a soft clink of cold, dew-covered glass bottles as she pulls the delivery inside. But the strange part is this. Nothing about that small, built-in box was considered a luxury. Houses back then were often half the size of the ones we built today. Yet every square inch of them worked harder. They were filled with clever, permanent solutions that handled chores we now buy expensive modern machines to do. These are 25 mid-century home features that vanished forever. Now, before we dive in, tap that subscribe button. You will not want to miss what is coming next. We often think that older homes were less advanced, but the truth is, many of the built-in features from the mid-century era were quiet masterpieces of domestic engineering. They did not disappear because they stopped working. They vanished because the housing industry realized it was cheaper to build empty drywall boxes and sell us disposable products to fill the gaps. What we lost was not just clever carpentry, it was a philosophy of living where the house actually helped you run it. As we count down these 25 forgotten features, you will see exactly how much domestic intelligence we traded for so-called modern convenience. And wait until you reach number 1. It was not just a design choice. It was the true anchor of the family, shaping how people lived in a way no modern open-concept floor plan can replicate. The countdown starts with something small, practical, and hidden right by the back door. Number 25, the milk chute. It usually sat waist-high, right near the back door. A small wooden cabinet built directly through the exterior wall. In the early morning, the milkman would open the outside panel and place fresh dairy inside. Hours later, a mother in her apron would open the interior door, greeted by the soft clink of glass and the cold, dew-covered bottles. It kept the milk insulated and secure. Today, we rely on expensive app-based delivery services and Ring cameras to guard our porches. The milk chute was different. It was not just an architectural feature. It was a physical manifestation of a neighborhood that operated on unspoken trust. Number 24. Built-in ironing boards. Tucked behind a narrow, inconspicuous door in the kitchen or hallway, this was a masterpiece of mid-century space saving. Unlatch the wooden door, and a heavy, sturdy ironing board folded down seamlessly. You could almost smell the hot starch and hear the hiss of a heavy metal iron pressing against cotton shirts. When the chore was done, it vanished back into the wall. Modern homes boast massive, echoing laundry rooms, yet we wrestle with flimsy, squeaky metal folding boards. This built-in feature proved that true functionality did not require massive square footage, just smart carpentry. Number 23. Telephone niches. In the 1950s, making a phone call was not something you did while walking around the house. It happened at the telephone niche, a small arched recess in the hallway wall, complete with a tiny shelf for the heavy black Bakelite rotary phone, a slot for the local directory, and sometimes a small wooden stool. You can almost hear the rhythmic spinning sound of the dial. Because it was anchored to one spot, phone calls were intentional, often public family events. Today, we carry glass screens in our pockets, isolated in our own digital worlds. The niche made connection a dedicated place, rather than a constant distraction. Number 22. Laundry chutes. Why carry heavy wicker baskets down 2 flights of stairs when gravity could do the work for free? The laundry chute was a small metal door in the upstairs hallway or bathroom. Open it, and you could drop soiled sheets and shirts down a smooth tin shaft, listening to the soft whoosh of fabric tumbling directly into a basket in the basement laundry room. It smelled faintly of powdered detergent waiting below. Today, despite our homes being twice as large, we lug plastic baskets up and down stairs. The chute was a quiet testament to houses designed to labor alongside the housewife. Number 21. Pocket doors. Before the era of loud, echoing, open-concept floor plans, houses respected boundaries. Pocket doors were solid wood panels that slid silently into the walls themselves on hidden metal tracks. You could feel the heavy, smooth glide of solid oak and hear the satisfying thud when they closed. They allowed a mother to seal off a messy dining room or block the noise of a television without taking up an inch of floor space with a swinging door hinge. They offered something modern homes desperately lack: the dignity of privacy. When you look at these first five features, a distinct pattern begins to show. They were built directly into the bones of the house. The modern housing industry eventually convinced us that buying separate, freestanding products was an upgrade. But looking at how seamlessly these features operated, it becomes clear. We did not upgrade. We just started paying retail for things our walls used to do for free. But the next group of features moved deeper into the house, shifting from saving space to managing the daily survival of the family, starting with a few details right beneath their feet. Number 20, floor furnaces. If you grew up in an older home, you remember the metal grate in the floor of the hallway or living room. On a freezing January morning, that grate was the most important place in the house. Children would stand right over it in their pajamas, feeling the intense, rising heat bake their toes, while the faint smell of burning dust signaled the start of winter. It was not a perfect system. If you walked on it barefoot, you might get a quick burn, but it provided a central gathering spot for warmth. Today's invisible central heating is convenient, but it removed that shared physical comfort of huddling together against the cold. Number 19, kitchen desk command centers. Before smartphones and digital calendars, the household was run from a small, built-in desk tucked into a corner of the kitchen. It usually had a wall-mounted rotary phone, a cork board pinned with school schedules, and a drawer smelling of old paper and copper pennies. You could hear the scratch of a mother's pen as she balanced the checkbook or clipped coupons. This small piece of cabinetry recognized the mother as the true manager of the home. Modern kitchens often remove these desks in favor of more counter space for aesthetic appliances, scattering the family's organization into the digital wind. Number 18, pink and seafoam green bathrooms. Walk into an untouched 1950s house, and you will likely find a bathroom covered in pastel pink, mint green, or powder blue tiles. The tub, the sink, and the toilet all match perfectly. When you touched that porcelain, it was heavy, solid, and cold. These bathrooms were built with a level of craftsmanship and permanent materials that are almost impossible to afford today. Yet house flippers eagerly tear out these indestructible, colorful tiles to install cheap, gray, plastic-lined showers that will crack in 10 years. The pastel bathroom was a bold commitment to a home meant to last a lifetime. Number 17, razor blade slots in medicine cabinets. Open a vintage steel medicine cabinet, empty the shelves, and look at the back wall. You will often find a tiny, horizontal slit. For decades, men would shave with double-edged safety razors, and when a blade went dull, they simply slipped it through that slot. You would hear a faint clink as the blade dropped into the empty space between the wall studs. It sounds bizarre today, but it was incredibly pragmatic, a safe, out-of-the-way disposal method that kept dangerous blades away from children's fingers. It was a detail designed by builders who understood the quiet daily routines of a man getting ready for work. Number 16, linoleum rugs. Not wall-to-wall carpeting, and not the cheap peel-and-stick vinyl of today. Linoleum rugs were large, heavy, unattached sheets of genuine linoleum laid over hardwood floors in kitchens and dining rooms. They featured vibrant, intricate floral or geometric patterns. When a child spilled a pitcher of juice or muddy boots trampled through the room, a mother only needed a bucket of soapy water and a mop to wipe it clean in seconds. We traded this profound practicality for expensive wall-to-wall carpets that trap dirt, requiring industrial machines just to keep them somewhat clean. By this point, the pattern is no longer just about saving space. It is about an entirely different standard of living. These were not simply construction choices. They were decisions made by a culture that expected a house to outlive the people who bought it. But as we move into the next few rules, the focus shifts. The next group of features moves from simple utility into something deeper, the way a house used to force a family to share their lives. Number 15, dumbwaiters. Hidden inside the walls of multi-story homes, the dumbwaiter was a small manual elevator operated by a simple rope and pulley. You could hear the faint, rhythmic creak of the wooden shaft as a tray of hot food, or perhaps a stack of folded linens, was pulled from the basement to the upper floors. It required no electricity, just gravity and a little physical effort. Today, we haul heavy plastic baskets up carpeted stairs, calling it a chore. The dumbwaiter was a silent servant, proving that houses could be designed to physically lift the burden off the family. Number 14. Pull-out cutting boards. Right beneath the kitchen counter, usually above the top drawer, was a solid slab of butcher block that slid out on wooden runners. It was scarred with decades of knife marks, carrying the faint, permanent scent of chopped onions and rolling flour. It was not a decorative piece of marble meant to be kept pristine. It was a true workspace. When a mother needed to slice a roast or knead dough, she simply pulled it out. Modern kitchens prioritize gleaming, empty surfaces that look like showrooms. The pull-out board was a daily reminder that the kitchen was, above all else, a workshop. Number 13. Built-in bread boxes. Before every loaf came wrapped in sweaty plastic, bread needed to breathe. Mid-century kitchens often featured a large tin drawer, lined with metal, built directly into the lower cabinetry. When you opened it, there was a distinctive metallic squeak, followed by the rich, yeasty aroma of baked goods. It kept pests out and maintained the perfect humidity to keep a crust crisp. We traded this simple preservation logic for disposable plastic bags that make bread soggy, forgetting that our homes used to know exactly how to protect our food. The closer we get to number 1, the less this is about objects and the more it is about identity. These were not just architectural quirks, they were quiet standards built into the wood and plaster, reminding the family of how things ought to be done. Number 12. Sunken living rooms. Often called conversation pits, these were recessed areas in the center of the home, usually carpeted and lined with built-in sofas. Stepping down into one instantly changed the acoustics of the room, creating a hushed, intimate atmosphere. There was no massive television screen dominating the wall. The architecture literally forced you to face one another, to talk, to listen, and to practice the lost art of stillness. Today's vast, open-concept living rooms often feel like airport terminals, where everyone stares at their own glowing screens. The sunken room demanded connection. Number 11. The Hoosier cabinet. Though its origins were older, many mid-century homes still centered their kitchens around this masterpiece of domestic preparedness. It was an all-in-one baking station. It had built-in flour sifters that spun with a satisfying metal rattle, glass jars for sugar, and a pull-out enamel workspace. A woman did not have to walk across the kitchen to gather ingredients. Everything she needed to feed her family was within arm's reach. It represented a deep, unspoken self-reliance that modern pantries full of processed snacks simply cannot match. Number 10. Indoor incinerators. Located in the basement or connected to the chimney, these small brick or metal furnaces were used to burn household waste. You would smell the faint, sharp odor of ash on chore day. Before the era of endless plastic packaging and municipal trash trucks, families managed their own waste. It was a completely different relationship with consumption. You did not just throw things away because there was no magical away. You dealt with it yourself right there in the house. As we approach the final features, the focus shifts entirely. The next few rules move away from simple utility and step straight into the heart of the home, the places that held our deepest memories and quietly taught us how to live. Number 9. Intercom systems. Long before cell phones, a mother's voice could travel through the walls. Built-in radio intercoms allowed parents to call children down for dinner without shouting up the stairs. It meant the house was connected, functioning as a single, breathing organism. Today, family members sit in separate rooms, silently texting each other, isolated under the very same roof. Number 8. Mudrooms with actual wash basins. This was not just a hallway to drop muddy shoes. It often had a deep, cast-iron utility sink. It served a profound psychological purpose, washing off the dirt and labor of the outside world before you were allowed to enter the sanctuary of the home. It silently taught children that the inside of the house was a space worthy of respect. Number 7. Built-in china cabinets. Tucked into the dining room wall behind thick, beveled glass, these shelves held the Sunday dishes. They were not for everyday use. Having a permanent, built-in space for fine china taught generations a quiet lesson. Some things in life are special, they require care, and they deserve to be protected. Number 6. Window awnings. Made of heavy canvas or scalloped aluminum, they shielded the window glass from the brutal summer sun. Instead of blasting an oversized air conditioner all day, families worked with nature, lowering the awnings in the afternoon to keep the house cool in the shadows. It was a passive, intelligent way to live. Number 5. Real wood paneling. Not the cheap peeling veneer of the 1970s, but solid dark wood in the den or study. It smelled faintly of lemon oil and absorbed sound, turning a simple room into a quiet, library-like retreat where a father might sit and read the evening paper in absolute peace. Number 4. The front porch as a living space. Houses used to project outward. The front porch was wide enough for a heavy wooden swing and rocking chairs. It was where you spent summer evenings, listening to the crickets and greeting neighbors as they walked by. Today, we build massive houses with flat, uninviting fronts, retreating into heavily fenced-in backyards. We traded the casual warmth of a community for total isolation. Number 3. Clotheslines in the backyard. There was a time when the rhythm of a neighborhood could be seen on a Tuesday morning. The soft snapping of white sheets in the wind, the irreplaceable smell of sun-baked cotton. It was a slow, quiet labor that required patience and fresh air, completely unlike the loud, aggressive tumbling of a modern mechanical dryer. Number 2. Root cellars and cold pantries. Deep in the basement or just off the kitchen, this was a cool, dark room smelling faintly of earth and preservation. It held rows of heavy mason jars, peaches, green beans, tomatoes, put up by a mother's own hands. It was the ultimate symbol of a family's self-reliance. You did not just survive day to day, you prepared for the season. And now we reach the one that explains all the others. The final feature was never just an architectural layout. It was about how a family stayed together. Number 1. The kitchen table in the center. Look at a modern luxury kitchen today, and you will see a massive, sterile marble island. People stand at it, eat quickly, and leave, often staring at their glowing screens. But in the mid-century home, the absolute center of the kitchen was a table. Perhaps it was formica with chrome edges, or perhaps it was heavily scratched oak. But it was placed directly in the middle of the room. While a mother worked at the porcelain sink or the stove, children did their homework at that table. Fathers sat there with a cup of black coffee before dawn. It was not just a place to consume calories. It was the gravitational center of the family. You had to pull out a chair, sit down, and look each other in the eye. It was not just furniture. It was the physical anchor of the family, built into the very way we were expected to live. The space was large, but the habit around it was what truly anchored the house. And when the industry removed it to make room for open concept aesthetics, we lost more than just a place to eat. When we look back at these 25 features, the truth becomes unavoidable. These architectural details and clever built-ins did not vanish because they were poorly designed or because they failed us. They vanished because the housing industry realized that empty spaces and disposable products were much easier to sell than permanence. But what we really lost was not just the linoleum rugs, the milk chutes, or the heavy pocket doors. We lost a deeper household intelligence. We traded our self-reliance, our quiet standards, and the dignity of a home that worked alongside its family for the illusion of modern convenience. But memory is a stubborn thing. Somewhere in an untouched mid-century house, the afternoon sun is still catching the dust over a solid hardwood floor. A heavy wooden door glides silently shut. In the true heart of the house, a worn kitchen table waits for the family to finally sit down together. Which of these vanished features do you miss the most or wish you still had in your home today? Let me know in the comments below. If this journey back in time brought back memories, please like, subscribe, and share this video. And do not forget to click the video on your screen for another trip into the forgotten corners of old America.